contact between the Wampanoag Indians of New England and Europeans occurred when the French employed Italian explorer Giovanni de Verrazzano arrived in 1524. The English didn't make it to the region until 1580, and Sir Humphrey Gilbert scouted the area for future settlement. A few years later, the English began their first actual colony in the New World, Roanoke, founded in 1585 in modern-day North Carolina. It was mysteriously abandoned, then repopulated, then abandoned again. The English would take their second attempt which you're probably sick of hearing about.
Let us
The English established a separate colony in That sounds familiar.
Is everyone all right? For all the great strive for!
The French and Dutch started new colonies shortly afterwards, and the English continued to visit the area to trade. In 1614, the region was explored by a rare famous John Smith. During this expedition, he produced the map where he named the area. The way under Smith's command was Thomas Hunt, who decided to go rogue just before the fleet was set to return home. He planted 20 or so Wampanoags onto his ship to trade, which was pretty standard practice at the time, but then decided to seize all of them and sell them into slavery in Spain.
There they are.
Let's take them all out of the end. Ignored law. Public relations campaign in 1616. While there is no documentation to support this, it is incredibly likely that they met. That same year, a devastating smallpox epidemic
with come forth, royal souls. The blade's edge.
Entire villages sick at once and were reduced to only 1 or 2 survivors.
I don't think there's any more backup coming.
Left with a few hundred, and the Wampanoags were so decimated that they fled to areas than ever in Narragansett. In the middle of this apocalyptic event, the Wampanoags witnessed that same blue-green comet in the
There is
sky
still danger
and
here.
interpreted it
Stay
as
vigilant.
a sign of worse things to come. Sir Ferdinand of Gordon
Right there.
Charging
forward! Released them back into the wild to pave the way for future colonial efforts. So in the spring of 1619, he paid to have Tisquantum returned home. When he arrived, he found his home village of Patuxent to be completely deserted. Everyone had died.
Elon Musk is many things. Entrepreneur, innovator, walking me. The first vegetarian has unquestionably been in the room, if not had a hand in, a ton of technological innovation.
Let's hurry.
In the last 25 years, from PayPal to X. I don't know if that's known myself to insert a recent technological innovation.
There they are. Right there.
How that's impacting his decisions on X. And by
There they
how
are.
that impacts the information that
This could be our
chance.
Done yet.
I'm going to separate this.
Level Observe the enemy.
Now, the self-professed speech absolutist, by definition, he is okay with anyone saying anything, and the right to free speech must be protected, not just for the person saying the things, but for the people who actually say the things that
I'll cut you down.
And you know what? That is me.
It's okay.
I'll cut through. Is everyone all right?
So why not to avoid you?
Okay, I don't think there's any more backup coming. Let's keep moving.
And it definitely contradicts the business model.
Not bad, if I say so myself.
Which is built on advertising. Marketers want a safe space to
Right
present
there.
adverts
I see the enemy. Right there.
Look at that important.
If it's useful, I say grab it.
There they are. I see the enemy.
Amazing! Great moves back there.
Also the European Commission is able to treat other words.
If you see a use for it, I say take it with you.
There they are. I see the enemy.
Let's push through.
There they are.
Calm minds will win the
I
day.
see the enemy.
Charging in.
Maybe a precautionary heal wouldn't hurt.
There they are.
I've got a feeling you need healing.
The established makes it easier,
That rhymes.
and because of this, typically
They soar over.
There they are.
This is our chance.
Everyone, go!
Off to me.
Never read legacy news anymore, referring to getting
No.
up your sources like print blogs, and podcasts, including Joe Rogan and Lex Friedman.
Right, let's keep this up. Fight is power.
Come through.
Well,
Two remaining.
For the count.
Cling to life.
yeah. As well. So he's not going
Let's
to
start.
irrelevant.
I see.
Although it appears his issues
Brace
are
yourself.
much more to upset the mainstream media in the way that I wanted. And they said, I'm media trained, and I'll give him the most largest the game of SEO. Anything written about my Lord and Saviour Lewis Capaldi will refer to him as the pointless singer.
I see the
Imagine
that would be a
I
gift.
can tell you firsthand that most journalists I know don't want to spook those footnotes every 20 words. Their main for the article might not rank, and if it doesn't get hit, they might lose their job. So it feels like Elon has more of an issue with Google's SEO ranking system, not the publication, unless they write something nasty / accurate about him, and then it is all about the publication. Part 2, X. As of 2024, X is the 13th largest social media site by user base, but as my partner constantly reminds me, it's not the size that matters, it's what you do with it, and the level of time you spend on it that counts. I need to overshare. You see, X could have 8 billion people on there, but if they're not the billion
If you
people
see a use for it, I say take it with you.
associate with or trust for your news, you're not going to go on there. Something gently
Nice.
like Zuckerberg. Elon purchased Twitter in October 2022 in a will they won't they that could rival Ross and Rachel in the 90s. Before the purchase, Twitter wrote a blog post that revealed that 94%
Right
of
there.
the sites are updated and 80%
Incoming.
about the news. It was largely figures connected their audiences as well as getting updates. BuzzFeed for 5 tweets that kind of sounded like they were complaining about the same thing, and then writing an article about how everyone voted about that trusted resource for the news.
Everyone run!
The blue ticks, which Elon has decided
There is still
to
danger
work
here.
better as a
Stay
commodity
vigilant.
rather than a stamp of legitimacy. Which checks out when you remember that the same guy that bought car heated seats should come as a subscription. Although
I see the
creditworthy
enemy.
bare minimum has been
Let's do this.
$8 a month for video on that here. Everyone else lost their blue tick overnight. One of those publications will be
We'll combine our strength.
and it was in the critical of
Always come through.
Plus wanted $8,000 a month, whereas
Hold back. Hold on.
slightly more reasonable by comparison, $20 a
I'm all
year.
prepared.
And it could ship $500 plain white t-shirt.
Coordination is key. The blade's edge. 3 left. Is everyone all right? Let my power support you. My blade cuts like the wind.
Counterfeit door.
Something on my throat. Fight is power.
Which, as a petty man, I respect the joke. After all, comedy is usual on air. But these measures were
No! I can slash.
Just an oversight.
That's the last of them. The way's clear.
5-second delay on links that loaded news sites, including
Satisfactory.
and Reuters,
I
as well as
continue
various
to grow.
social media apps, including Instagram and
Our foes are not vanquished.
There they are.
Mobile users abandon sites when they take longer than 3 seconds to load.
What
The
now?
5-second delay was not only calculated, but very well planned for people who ain't got time for that shit. In October 2023, he got rid of the headlines from links to improve the aesthetics, but decrease the usability of X in what we now call a reverse Cybertruck. At this point, Elon tweeted that he almost never reads legacy media, saying that X's algorithm is optimized against links, so that people will stay on his site as long as possible. Then premium users, given the ability to write more characters their post in the Charles Dickens novel, and then journalists were allowed to publish articles directly onto X. Because the media lied, community notes were launched to expose those lies, with Elon saying that liars will hate this platform, and that same day, Pinocchio deleted the
Let's take them all out.
After all of this, ABC and NPR. NPR have gone on to claim that their site traffic only dropped by 1% since removal. Social media team part 3.
Brace yourself!
Elon has made it very clear that he thinks citizen journalists will take the panel. And don't just take my word for it. Here's a headline and that article was based on a post he shared on
Okay,
X.
I don't think there's any more backup coming. Let's keep
Trump
moving.
favours citizen journalists as it breaks through the monopoly
That'll do
held
it.
by traditional editors. And you know what? I'm not entirely anti that. I think breaking up some of the traditional monopolies, or at the very least letting through some new publications, would be a good thing. However, it appears the reason Elon wants this to happen is so that X can own the conversation. Arguably the one thing the richest man on earth shouldn't be able to buy. It's also worth noting that publications do have a code of ethics, which in theory they have to live up to. They have teams of fact checkers and can be sued if they publish misinformation. Whereas Joe Blogs from Utah sitting in his pants and
Right there.
like the number of traffic
This is our chance.
program and the horrific details.
It's okay. Let's go.
Either must allegedly expose
Fire!
sexual flight attempts and
I shall fight you.
Okay, I don't think there's any more backup coming. Let's keep moving.
And Saudi Arabia's sovereign website wanted forbidden.
We made short work of them.
Governments and these other companies want to disappear, which makes him more of a publisher than a platform. As a result, he should be governed by the same rules.
There they are.
If we want to take Elon at his word,
I'll show you the essence of true force, royal soul.
where anyone can say
Is that your right, Captain?
with pride in hand. It wasn't this.
You never know.
Get upset. Under Musk, it's a
That's the
subscription
last
thing.
of them. The way's clear.
And wallet. And anything put on there which could hurt his business or cash flow is seen as a slight. And that includes the new biggest one for everything in his power.
Right there. On your guard.
Which is trust on his platform. So going forward, we're going to have two very distinct information bubbles. One called legacy media, which 500 million people are being encouraged not to believe. The other one is called X, which is a horrible, watered down and biased source that anything you'll find in a newspaper. And as these two echo chambers pull further and further apart,
Thank you.
No. On whether they trust journalists or citizen journalists or not.
Let's hurry.
In a post-truth world, it's like a epidemic. That's a great look. Godspeed.
No.
Hey! What?
So, I've been working on a theory that pretty much all of our modern culture originates from two time periods. The post-World War II years in the 1940s and 50s, and the post-Reconstruction era from the 1880s to 1900, otherwise known as the Gilded Age in the US, or the late Victorian era in England. Jamie McCullough and I talk about this all the time. It's something we've noticed from researching several videos that take place during those periods. To give you a few recent examples, cigarettes as we know them weren't invented until 1881. Christian Scientists, Jehovah's Witnesses, and a third religion that shall not be named all began in the 1860s and 70s. Thanksgiving wasn't a holiday until the Civil War. Christmas became a national holiday in 1870. Santa Claus didn't start wearing red and white until 1881. Christmas was viewed as an evil Catholic holiday. It was banned in many colonies and states for over a century. It wasn't widely celebrated until the Irish Nationalities, which led to the first Columbus Day in 1892. I mean, If that isn't enough to convince you, specific topic you never thought you'd care about, okay, fine.
Are you
I have things I do for you guys. I know I'm not necessarily supposed to be a great man for this kind of moment. Every once in a while, one guy does come along. You know, let me tell you about a man who is singularly responsible for so much of our present-day habits, including breakfast, exercise machines, vegan burgers, health spas, and basically every old wives' tale and medical misconception regarding diet and health. John Harvey Kellogg. Care to take a guess as to when he lived?
Looks like we're safe for now.
Right there.
Nice work.
There they are.
This video was brought to you by my streaming service, Nebula. Michigan fever began in 1830.
Right there.
To settlers at rock bottom prices west in the wake of John Preston Kellogg and his wife Maria Paul Kellogg bought 320 acres for $400 and arrived with their 2 sons in the spring of 1834. They had children who died from tuberculosis in 1841.
Observe the
6
enemy.
months later,
Heroes.
he hired to look after the house while Mary was dying. John Preston and Anne Jeanette Kellogg had 11 children together over the next 24 years. The only ones we care about are these 2. John Harvey Kellogg, born on February 26, 1852, and Wilkie Kellogg, born on April 7, 1860. Shortly after John Harvey's birth, John Preston was raised by his mother by Joseph Bates, a Seventh-day Adventist preacher.
Right there. I see the enemy.
I'm not done with that yet. You're not? It's been months. Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, maybe, but over on Nebula, this video came out just after the vegetarianism one. It's only been like an hour. That is true. Nebula subscribers got to see this video back in September. Nebula is a subscription streaming service which I have been part of since the very beginning. It was made by and for fellow creators as a safe haven where we can try out different types of content without worrying about being punished by the algorithm. Along with getting to see videos like this months early, you can find all of my previous content over there without sponsor segments like this one. Many of these are alternate versions containing jokes that were too spicy for YouTube and extended cuts with bonus segments. I've even made a few Nebula exclusives. If you go to nebula.tv/knowingbetter or use my link below, a portion of your subscription fee comes directly to me for as long as you're a member. You can currently get a year of Nebula for only $2.50 a month. Will my next video be up a few months early over on Nebula? I don't know. You'll have to go to nebula.tv/knowingbetter to find out. If you haven't seen my previous video on vegetarianism,
Right there.
you see
Is that
this?
the end then?
This is the guy we're talking about. So you need to know who all of these other people are, what they believed, and how they're all connected to each other.
I see the enemy.
I know, right? It's like, I have to summarize it here too, but like, I make these videos at the same time. They're companions to each other. Later on, you're going to be like, what? How did he come up with that idea? And the answer
Right
is,
there.
I got it from this guy. Another guy's ideas to write a pamphlet, and now that's why you're circumcised. Oh, do I have your attention now? That's a cool example that we'll come up later. In any case, we're going to be focused on this guy during this video, along with his brother. William Miller calculated that Christ's second coming would occur on March 21st, 1844.
There they are.
He revised it to October 22nd, 1844.
I see the enemy. There they are.
Prediction came to be known as the Great Disappointment.
Right there.
Several groups splintered off
I see the enemy.
It was just spiritual.
There they are. Come and get me.
A seventh-day adventure because they believe we are currently in the seventh and final day. Ellen Harmon was a follower of William Miller. 2 months after the Great Disappointment, when she was 16 years old, she had her divine vision. Along with her future husband, James White, they created the Adventists. 10 years later, James and Ellen White moved their congregation from Muskie, New York to Battle Creek, Michigan. Funny side note, back in 1825, an army expedition survey landed in Michigan, and a fight altercation between 2 Americans and 2 Potawatomi occurred. So they jokingly decided to move nearby Sweet, Battle Creek. John Preston moved the entire Kellogg family to Battle Creek in order to be closer to the Whites. He then became a major financier for the church. Since the end of the world was imminent, the Kellogg's did something easy to educate their kids, with one exception. John. Soon after enrolling in grammar school, it became clear that he was academically gifted. Even so, when he was 11 years old, he was put to work in his father's broom factory, working 10-hour shifts for $2 a day. John soon developed bloody colitis, which scarred his colon and led to constipation and hemorrhage.
I see the enemy.
Then he developed an anal fissure, which caused a severe As a result, John became obsessed with colon hygiene and finding bowel-friendly foods which would produce soft, painless stools. After a year in the broom factory, the Whites hired John as a printer's apprentice for the SDA's publishing house. While editing the Health Reformer, he learned about the church's new wellness doctrines before anyone else. These included fresh air exercise, hydropathy, temperance, and the vegetarian teachings of Sylvester Graham, the guy who repopularized whole wheat flour in America. This guy was the focus of the previous video. He's the father of vegetarianism in the United States and the inspiration behind the Graham Cracker. You know what to do if you want to know more about him. Sylvester Graham believed that a vegetarian diet was the cure to all illnesses and societal woes, including war, poverty, and masturbation. John Harvey already had an aversion to sex. He wasn't asexual, we'll come back to that later, but Graham's teachings gave him an additional justification for his previously held beliefs.
Say the line!
This will be a recurring theme. Almost all of the SDA's diet and health recommendations were plagiarized from James Caleb Jackson, who operated a water cure facility named Our Home on the Hillside. In 1865, James White was paralyzed by a stroke and was treated by Jackson. Shortly afterwards, Ellen White received a divine vision telling her to open her own health institute focused on healthy living,